What is up, my friends? So I just wanted to talk to you guys about one of my students. Her name was Liz. Not was. Her name is Liz. And she actually was able to get a contract, lock it in relatively pretty quick. And I just wanted you guys to kind of hear her story because in the midterm rental space, the way that I go after and the way that I teach people to go after travel nursing agencies, it's a lot different than just listing yourself on Furnish Finder. Which Furnish Finder is a fantastic option. I mean, obviously we want data, we want to grab information from Furnish Finder through clinicians that are matched or unmatched leads. But this space, in order to be successful, you have to be very persistent and you have to know that you are going to get a contract and it might take you 5 calls and it might take you 100 calls. But at the end of the day, it's the amount of work that you put in is what you get back. And I love Liz's story because she talks about reaching out to emails, reaching out to phone calls and continuing to push. And then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. That was her contract. It freaking landed and she got her place booked and has her properties pretty booked up. So I want you guys to kind of hear her story. This was on a Zoom call that we had with the mentees that are all together. We usually have a group call with the previous mentees and the current mentees that I'm working with. And the Zoom quality is probably not the greatest, but hear her story out anyway because it is fantastic. I hope you guys can sit through this and take a listen to what Liz has been able to accomplish. Liz. So Liz was in my class last 4 or 5 months ago, Liz.
So it was March, the first week of March. And I had never heard of Jesse. I heard of Jesse the last week of February. So a week before the class was going to start. I flew from Austin to Modesto to close. And as I was driving to Modesto, I heard him on a call that he had with another Wednesday healthcare professionals live call. And then I called him. So I heard him talk about, what he does in Modesto, the midterm market. And the plan for this home was to just be a long-term market because I'm familiar with that neighborhood, just somewhere to put cash and just rent it out and let it be. So when I heard him talk about the midterm rental, granted, I was new to this. I hadn't really done a lot of research. I had been in that group maybe a couple of times. So I started hearing about STR and MTR, barely any. And so then I cold called Jesse and I asked him about his class. He tried to convince me not to take it, but I just dove in. Literally, I was like, no, we're closing on the house. I want to do this. I don't have time to learn about this, take my time. And so we literally closed on the house on a Friday and then furnished it in a week using Jesse's handout. And we furnished it in a week. And then nurses moved in on a Monday. It was thanks to Jesse. So Jesse, he didn't have any availability. The nurses had reached out to him, so he sent them to me. They saw the house and they wanted to rent. But then since then, I was grateful because Jesse taught me, how to furnish, how to do all this, and I just dove in. But since then, once the nurses moved in, then that's when I took the course. And then I learned, okay, what do we do? And then I started building relationships, reaching out to people who contacted me on Furnish Finders. Not so much to get them in, but get a contract. That was my ultimate goal, to get the contract. So I did everything that Jesse's teaching you guys. I have my master spreadsheet. I put everyone that I reached out to from Furnish Finders. And my house is a 3-bed, 2-bath. So it's a little bit higher than their budget, but I still reach out to them even if they're unmatched because I reach out to them, then I get information from their recruiter or how they're getting to Modesto. And so I never even made it on Airbnb. I just have my listing on Furnish Finders and I would make connections through contacts that I would get from there. And same thing as JP. So I did have an agency reach out to me back in April, but my home was not available. So I didn't just, ignore them. I kept them in my list. When my home became available again, they didn't have availability, but I would reach out to them. I reached out to all these people through LinkedIn. I have them in my master spreadsheet. And so lo and behold, in July, my house was booked with nurses from Furnish Finder. I still had not had a contract, but I was building relationships with these agencies. And so an agency reached out to me through Furnish Finder and I immediately follow up. So I always follow up immediately. I don't let the weekend go by. I follow up as soon as I can while they're eager to find a place, right? Whether it be a nurse or an agency. I immediately followed up and of course, they don't reply right away. So then I emailed them on a Monday. I emailed them again on a Tuesday. I emailed them again on Wednesday. I don't send the same email. I draft different things. I use language that from Jesse's packet. I, change it up. The key was that I didn't know what hospital. So I wanted to include on my flyer, like, I'm X miles from where your doctor's going to be. So before I sent the flyer, I wanted to get them on the phone. So I knew, a way to attract them to my home. So I sent them an email Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, finally Thursday, they replied. And I also was calling them. So I also called them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then Thursday, finally, I got them on the phone. And then we spoke, and I had my list of questions ready to go. Where are they going to be located? Telling them about the advantages to my home. And as soon as I heard the place, the hospital is literally 4 minutes from my home. So I made sure to highlight that. And I asked information also about the person who was going to be coming. And it was just one doctor. So I knew, I was like, okay, limited wear and tear on the home. And they wanted it for 6 months. So imagine if I had not followed up with them every single day. If I would have let just 2 weeks go by, they would have gone to someone else. So that's the importance of following up, being ready with my language. So these aren't emails that I was just, drafting. I already have emails that I had drafted from previous communications with other agencies. I just tailor depending on what their needs are, right? So once I got them on the call, they said, oh, great, we'll let you know, right? So that doesn't stop there. I made sure to follow up with an email thanking them for the call immediately. And I even sent a little picture with the route the doctor was going to take to the hospital. It was 4 minutes driving or like 15 minutes walking, right? And so, because again, she was mentioning that this was information that she was going to forward to the doctor was then going to choose. So they obviously have different options, and I wanted it to be as succinct as possible. And my flyer, it's back and front. It has all the pricing on there, but I sent that once I had spoken to them, because I also wanted to communicate, like, are you in my budget? Are you not? I offered bi-weekly or monthly cleanings, and they preferred monthly, the agency said. So once I had spoken to them, then I sent them the flyer with specific, just little things which I did on Canva. And granted, you guys, I don't even have a website. I don't have an LLC. I'm a sole proprietor. So, and that was one of the challenges I had in the beginning. Like, I would come on these calls and say, oh, but I don't have like my website. I don't have a business like license yet. But that didn't stop me. Like, Jesse and people on the call would say, just keep going. So I did. Whenever I call them, I would say, hi, this is Liz from River Corner Properties, because that's the name that I have on my flyer. I don't even have a logo yet, but that's the name. That's what my Gmail is. And that was not a hurdle at all. I know that sometimes on the Facebook groups, people post like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. That was not a hurdle at all for me, because of course, I'm going to be honest. If they ask me, do you have a business license? I'll say no. I'm a sole proprietor. This is that. So since I am a sole proprietor, I wanted to mention, once we got the contract, they just asked for the W-9, and you just put your name and your social security. And so that was simple. But that's not stuff that I started out with, right? You don't start out with like, oh, I don't have a business, I don't have this. No, you don't talk about that until if they ask or once it's needed. And I know I was texting Jesse like, oh, they're asking for a W-9, like, is it okay? He's like, yeah, just be honest up front, talk to them. And it was not a problem at all. But again, the communication was key. I always followed up immediately. So again, remember, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday call. Finally got them on the call Thursday. The housing coordinator was going on vacation Friday, and she would be gone the next week. So I had to get this solidified. And so Thursday she said, okay, we're gonna let you know if the doctor chooses you. Friday I said another email, good morning, wanted to check in, has a decision been made? And then she emailed me right away, which is a good sign because it meant that they wanted the home. And so it was just a matter of a couple hours. I asked her if she had a contract that she could send me so I could review it. I reviewed it, just edited. It was literally like a Word document. I added terms that I wanted on there, and she was okay with that. And then we just docu-signed. And I did negotiate, though. She wanted month to month. And I said I wanted at least a 3-month contract, and then we could go month to month. I also was try to pull a Jesse. I wanted to get like, oh, can you pay me, 3 months up front or 6 months? They said no, that they would do month to month, pay on a monthly basis. And I was okay with it because I knew it was a well-known company, national company. They also sent a check right away. So we docu-signed on the Friday, and in those communications, I made sure to ask like, okay, so when am I going to get the check so that I know, they're not going to bail on me and I need to find someone else. And they said they would FedEx the check on Tuesday, and it arrived on Tuesday. It was the deposit, the rent for the next month, and they always send the check like, I don't know if it's 2 weeks or a week before the next month, and it's 6-month contract. I also did a screening. So I also screened the doctor. I let them know, I like to screen the doctor to see who's going to be in my home, and I do it through a veil. And so the doctor pays the $55 charge. The doctor was so sweet, like included all these super paragraph long answers to my questions. And it's an elderly gentleman living there by himself. And I have the once a month cleaning. When my cleaner went at the end of August, she was like, it's spotless. I'm like, yeah, you still need to like change everything, put new sheets, put everything new, because that's the service that we're providing. And I've had no complaints. I also keep communicating with the agency. Even though the guest is there, I don't want them to forget about me like, oh, Liz never followed up. She was just like out of here. No, I always communicate. So I the cleaning happened, and so I'll email the doctor like, oh, I hope you were pleased. And I'll CC the agency, and the doctor replies like, yes, it's so, I love it. I feel like a second home. And so then the housing coordinator always replies to me and says, thank you so much, Liz. We hope to continue working with you in the future. We've heard positive things from our doctor, etc. So that's my side, my story, the hurdles that I faced. And again, remember, I had some vacancy in between the first set of nurses that moved in 1 week after I furnished. I had a little bit of vacancy. I have a thick skin, so I said, no, if I took this course, and granted, this is the first course I've ever invested in, and it's just been so amazing. I said, no, I want to get a contract at some point, so I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to build these relationships. I'm not going to give up, because remember, when you close on a home the first month, there's no mortgage until the next month. So I thought, okay, I have some reserves. I'll wait, and I was lucky. Literally, when the nurses left, there was only one day that we had to clean, and then the doctor from the agency had to move in. So yes, there was luck in that part that my home happened to be available in that window. But I think that now moving forward, I'll be able to have this under my belt. Like I have an agency that already I have had a contract with them in the event that, to build rapport with other agencies. So
that's so awesome. Like, I love that whole story, except for the part where you said that I tried to talk you out of class, which I don't know if I did that or not. Probably I did. I think I do that often. I always tell everybody, you can just watch my YouTube videos. Everything's on there. Just go watch that and you'll be fine. But yeah, Liz, I mean, I'm super happy that, and this is one of the things too about me, you guys, like if you guys are in my market and I get a agency reaching out to me and I don't have space, I'm going to give it to my students. I'm going to put it up online and say, hey, this is what I have. Like, we're going to always run into spots like this, you guys. Kelly just mentioned this a second ago. Like, you got to get to know the other midterm rental operators in your market and not have that mindset that like, holy crap, I don't want this person to take something from me. This business is built off of you being booked majority of the time. It's how it is. So if you're able to kind of give and take from other people, you're going to have that back in that space. And this is not like short-term rentals where it's like everybody's hoarding everything for themselves. We're in a business of being booked where there's no vacancy. Like literally, there's no vacancy. So if you do get something that comes on and you know that person, you trust the other person, like I trust that I'm going to be able to pass something off to Liz. She's going to have a nice property that I already know. I saw pictures beforehand, so I guess that doesn't necessarily count. But I know it's a really nice place. I know the neighborhood. So I want you guys to really feel like that, being in this course, like you're connecting with other people in your market. Have that mindset that I want to work together with other people, because it's really going to go back to, being able to help somebody else out at another time. It'll come back. They'll give you that. I'm sure if Liz was booked, she would call me and say, hey, Jess, I got something open. Do you have anything? You know what I mean? So, which I'm waiting for that, Liz. Whenever that happens, please let me know.
Well, I think, once there was an agency who reached out to me and then I contacted Jesse, he's like, yeah, that same agency reached out to me. So just get to work, So yeah, that's what they do. And you just have to keep following up, have it another group of nurses. I wanted to add this. So they came to see my house at one point, and it was 2 of them. So remember, mine is a 3-bed, 2-bath. So ideally, if they want to be able to like have it be affordable, they need to be 3 nurses. but they liked it so much that they were willing to pay for it, just the two of them. So I didn't use a designer because I had a week to furnish it. So we literally just drove around and purchased things, and there's some things like it wasn't perfect. There's some things that I still want to add. Like I wasn't even able to add a TV in every room, but it is a new build. So that's part of the attractive thing. Mine's not as unique like Jesse's homes. Mine is a cookie cutter, brand new build, but I think that's a plus for me. Like in my flyer, that's something that I highlight because everything's new. There's like a electrical car charger. It's in a nice new neighborhood. So I use things that are probably disadvantages to other people. I highlight those. So don't think that like we all have different challenges. And so it wasn't in my budget or timeline to furnish. So I think that I want to move forward with this. Like I want to do hybrid model, but they banned STRs. That was my plan, to do a hybrid model if I didn't have a contract, but I can't. So I'll just keep doing midterm rentals. But we're grateful with all that we're making because remember, I was just going to LTR that house and it's been just so much more successful.
And probably make no money long-term.
Yeah, it'd just be like
right?
breaking even.
Liz?
It'd be breaking even. Yeah. And just having it sit there forever. So
Are you cash flowing now? Are you cash flowing on your rentals now?
Yeah. Yeah, because on the midterm rental.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I have a long-term rental across from that I'm thinking when they move out in December, I might furnish it over the holidays, but I'll have to see because that one's a little larger. That's a 4-bed, 3-bath. So I'll have to see if I want to.
I still think you'll be fine. And if you want a long-term rent it, I'll rent it from you. So just think about that too. Okay. I'll take care of your place.
Yeah, no, even for long-term rentals, like people
that's
are
awesome. I love your
Yeah.
Yeah. New builds are good because like you literally walk into them and they smell brand new. Like, I don't know if you guys been into like model homes and stuff, but when you go in there, it's like, you could smell, it's like smells crisp. The paint's all nice. Like everything, there's no like, grout issues. Everything's like beautiful. I think that's what Brad had too over in Austin, was a brand new build. And it's like, when you're somebody coming into that space, you walk in there, you're just like, man, it smells like somebody just like unwrapped an Apple Watch or, Apple something. It just smells good, or like the new car smell. So I think that's like almost like a psychology in itself that, people like those kind of spaces. People like that, like fresh smell. So
I wanted to add it, but if someone has a question, I'll just add that. So I took the class, was learning as the nurses were in there, but I've gained much more. So I really like the Facebook group. I try to like answer questions when people post. During that process, I've also created like an accountability group with 2 other members in the group. We would message each other on Facebook, and then we just decided, why don't we just talk and have like a call like this? So we have it every 2 weeks, and they're all in different places. One's in Stockton, one's in Anaheim. And so even though we're like in different markets, it was still good to check in. We're not competing against each other. And even if we were, there's just enough to go around.
So there it is, folks. She put in the work. She put the effort in. And I think in order for you to actually be successful in the midterm rental space by doing things, intelligently and intuitively, by going after the actual agencies, that's where you're going to start to level up in this space. We can all go on Furnish Finder now and put our properties up and get bookings, but we're relying on the guests that are potentially coming in, the nurses, the agencies that are coming in. But building on actual business to business level, what I teach in my course is you actually get to be partners with these agencies, and you're able to build sustainability over years. And I think that's the difference between, again, just listing and wanting to do things in a different way. And I feel that in order for us to, really articulate what we're doing, and, this business to business model provides stability over time. And I think that's where I want you guys to really understand is that the goal of starting any business is to like literally have it for years, right? Not just, be successful for a year or 2 and then it's gone. And the business to business model really puts us in a space where we're accountable for our own actions and building our businesses, putting things together. And at the end of the day, it's how much work that we put into this is what we get out of it. So, and a lot of it's sales, you guys. A lot of it's connecting with the agencies. It's actually pitching a product, which I teach all in my course, how to actually pitch. We give templates. You actually can hear me make calls to these agencies. I talk about structuring persuasive selling format, which is basically a way to sell without overselling yourself like a car salesman. And I apologize if there's anybody in here listening right now or watching this that is a car salesman. Not to say anything bad, but that pushy aspect, a lot of people just don't like. And especially if you're trying to come across with another agency, you got to be very professional, and you can't push your agenda onto them. You have to find problems, solve the problems. And in this course, I talk specifically about how to do that. So if you guys are interested in the course, the link is down below to jump in. The course is going now. It's actually evergreen, so you can jump in at any moment. It is 3 months long. The course itself takes about a month and a half to get through, but you actually get to be guided by me in a group call for 3 months at a time. So if you're just starting, or you're finding your first unit, you need to figure out what that unit's going to look like, how much it's going to earn, how to connect with these agencies, where to find them. That's all stuff that we talk about. So I hope this brought some value to you guys, hearing Liz's story. Jump down below, follow, like, and if you guys are interested in the course, please jump on in. I want to help you guys be successful. So let's do it.